Happy Friday. Joy Brooks with Email and Coffee. Today I'm speaking with Kristy McCarley. Hey, Kristy, tell
Hey
us a
Joy,
little bit about it yourself.
I am the owner of a full service email marketing agency based in Atlanta, Georgia.
It's pretty cool. I once wanted to do that. Not the Atlanta, Georgia part, but the full service.
Decided not to?
Yeah, I decided not to.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
you can come join us anytime, Joy.
I
You got
know.
an open invitation.
Hey, I'll look
And
at
you
it.
don't have to come to Atlanta. You can do it right there.
Oh, I'll let you know. I could always
Okay.
pick up a client or two. I the business plan was the toughest thing, and that's something we could certainly talk about. It's like building that type of a business. First, you have an idea. Like, what was the process? Where did this come from?
I started a few years ago helping a lot of Shopify clients actually. And so it kind of stumbled into, I had used MailChimp before, really liked the product, and just found a lot of my Shopify clients were using MailChimp, had some questions about MailChimp. And so I just started helping them, and it kind of grew from there. And then, just turned into more clients and more projects, more clients, more projects. And finally, I decided maybe I should try the agency thing. Let's see if I can really grow this and maybe spend more time with family as it grows. That doesn't always happen.
Yeah, especially the
you
first
know,
few years. The first year or two,
yeah.
it's absentee mother.
Well, it's a lot of, I work really hard to try to find the balance. And that's like a daily thing. But there's a lot of hours, required to do this and to grow this. So, but I'm really, family is really a big priority for me, and my kids are really big priority for me. So making sure that I carve out that time to spend with family is important. And probably we probably could grow faster or bigger if I wasn't doing that. But family is my priority, so it is what it is.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily need to be the $1 billion business. That doesn't necessarily make it any better.
Yeah, well, it certainly wouldn't make me happier if it was Kabillion and at the sacrifice of my family. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. And
yeah,
so like you're building this business and you're having to hire a salesperson, you're having to hire other people to work, you're having to do all these business plans. There's a lot that goes into it. Like
yeah.
what what was the first thing you did? Like you said, "Oh, I'm going to do this." In the meantime, you're already doing all of this work. So your sleeves are
Yeah,
rolled up and you're doing all this work. And now you're thinking that you're going to have an agency model. So how
yeah.
did you segue from these are my clients and I'm working with my clients to this is a business and I'm growing the business? Because
I
obviously you
probably
don't do all the work, do you?
no. And I probably didn't do it the right way. That's the thing about starting an agency for me. Like I've never worked for an agency, so I didn't have a model. I didn't have uh building an agency for dummies. I just kind of jumped into it, and I'm sure I did a lot of things wrong. I probably am still doing. I'm
Well,
sure the things
listen,
I
but
could
I
be
don't
doing
think
better.
there's a rule book.
Uh,
I don't think there's a rule book. I think a lot of people
yeah,
jump into it.
yeah. I mean, my first thought was, okay, I can't do everything, so I need to get some help. And so that was a series of working with contractors, interns, summer interns. I think I started with a summer intern first, just to see what that was like to get some help. And I had hired interns in the past, summer interns in the past, so that seemed like a logical place to start. And then I started learning. I did talk to other agency owners and listen to podcasts and best practices for building anything. And it kind of grew from there. Hired a lot of uh, I subcontracted a lot of work initially, but to freelancers that I had a relationship with, so I knew the quality of their work, and they were, fairly reliable and good communication, and then we just kind of went from there.
That's when I started doing my work, I realized that like the business plan, I had a 3 month business plan. I said to myself, I'll do a 3 month, I'll do a 6 month, I'll do a 9 month, and I'll do a year. I kept on taking my temperature. saying, okay, what am I doing? Am I enjoying myself? What's going on here? And the thing that stopped me from doing an agency was that I'm not good at selling and I don't like to sell.
Mm.
And what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And I didn't
Yeah.
know
You
any,
kind of got to sell a little bit.
right. I didn't know any people in sales that understood what I was doing, email,
Yeah.
that could become a partner. That just didn't happen. Was I
Yeah.
looking? Yes, I was looking. I was silently looking. I didn't put out a beacon and run around town with a sign, but I was I was networking with a lot of people, and every time I would network, I would be like, maybe they fit here, maybe they fit there. Let's see what's going on. And just never, 6 months in, I was like, this is not good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And 9 months in, I found an agency picked me up.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, this is how you do it. Let them do the sales. I'll do the work. Thank you very much. And I was happy. I was very happy for a number of years. Now I'm totally freelance. And I don't work with a particular agency because I don't like putting all of my eggs in a basket.
Yeah.
That's just me. I just don't
Yeah.
like to do that.
Yeah.
So so that's what that was my thought process. But has your business taken like U-turns, and like what do you have this like plan in your head of where you're going, or do you just let it go?
I think it's a mixture of both. And that again is just me and my style. I don't want to try to control it too much because then it, you feel that tension of you can't control everything. So, yeah, I think there's a mixture of both. I mean, there has to be some level of management and monitoring and checking to see where you are. Like you said, checking your temperature. There has to be some of that in order for the business to scale and just make sense. Um, but you also got to be fluid with it because there's so many things that I want to try, and you can't try if you're not open to change and open to learning. I don't like sales either per se, but I do like meeting a lot of people, and I like talking to people about their problems and offering a solution. So the name of our agency is Pure FireFly. And for anyone looking for email marketing, we're at purefirefly.com. But then the word firefly was inspired me as a small business owner, feeling like I was always in the dark, kind of feeling my way through the dark, always trying to figure out what's the next step and figuring out who to hire and what app or what tool to use and just trying to figure out all these solutions. And so Firefly is meant to be a small light in the dark, a way to guide some small business owners, some small businesses, nonprofits, just a small light so that they could kind of find their way. Now, we're not, the sun, so we're not going to give every single answer, but we can be a light, to guide people. So I hear you got a friend in the background, Joy.
Yeah, really. It wouldn't, if I asked her politely or screamed at her, it wouldn't matter because she's deaf. So
Yeah.
let her go. She wasn't always deaf, but we all get old, so these things do
Yes,
happen.
we do.
So you had said Firefly. So my initial
Yeah.
business, my first business was the Flying Dragon, and it
Okay.
was Flying Dragon because um, in many myths, the dragon, um, you know, gets consumed by fire and is reborn over and over again,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And that was
Yeah.
me. I'm constantly getting reborn,
Yeah.
constantly learning and changing and pivoting.
Yeah.
Something also that you said was that you can't be so controlling of the business that you can't pivot,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
yeah, and I mean, if anything, COVID glaringly showed us that you have to pivot. And it was always there to start with, but unless you're forced, you don't do it. And I really think that in many cases, businesses need to always be aware that your demographic is changing, your resources are everything's
Yeah.
changing.
the market, the economy. Um, I think that's one of the strengths of small businesses is that we have to deal with these things every day. We don't have the resources of a large corporation to kind of ignore them. So as the economy changes, that usually trickles down to us pretty quickly, and we
Quickly.
have to respond and react. It or die. Like if you're going to survive in this business, you've got to be able to respond and pivot quickly. So yeah, always learning, always looking for opportunity, always networking and meeting other people, trying to establish relationships with other businesses because I, like you, don't like putting my eggs all in one basket. So and I like to learn, I like to meet people too. So that's that's the benefit of a small business. I was saying before, I don't like selling, but I do like meeting people. I do like providing that small light to those who might be having some struggles with email marketing, not understanding the terms, not understanding design principles or deliverability, and wanting to understand it. Or maybe they don't want to understand it. Maybe they just need somebody to come in and take it off their hands. But for them, it's, those clients, it's often a solution, some relief, take some stress out of their life, and I enjoyed that part of it. And of course, we've got to stay in business, so we've got to charge a fee for that. But I don't necessarily see it as selling. I see that we have solutions that are right uh, for some businesses, some organizations. We have the right solution, and some we don't. Some we're not a good fit for, and that's okay too.
Hmm. Hmm. So you mentioned MailChimp before. So that relationship sort of came um, holistically because you were just working with Shopify, working with MailChimp, and then the partnership blossomed. And
Yeah,
also, you being in Atlanta, they're in Atlanta.
yeah,
So
yeah,
how does
yeah.
that?
That's a great relationship. I have a really good relationship with MailChimp. And I say relationship because I feel very connected to the brand. I started doing MailChimp work initially as a freelancer, and that just grew over time. We initially became certified, and we're now a certified partner agency. And I partnered with MailChimp on several in person and online events. And it's just been, I really enjoy working with the product. I like the product. I like that they serve small businesses and I serve small businesses. They stand for things that I stand for, which is supporting small businesses, community, service, inclusivity, diversity. Um, they just have we share a lot of the same values. And so for me, that's as important as using the tool.
Hmm.
And they here locally in Atlanta, there's a lot that MailChimp does for our community. And I just really enjoy that. I enjoy working with a brand and with a company that stands for what I stand for. So it just makes it that much easier when I work with MailChimp clients because I'm I'm enjoying the process and even more.
I've had a MailChimp account since MailChimp conception. Matter of fact, when I got the account, they sent me a T-shirt. That's the way it
Ah,
used to be. So I have a T-shirt from the year one with the little MailChimp on the front. And a lot of
yeah,
people look at that and go, "What is that?" And I'm like, "Never
yeah.
mind. It's okay. Don't. I'm not getting involved." I'm like, but the relationship that Mailchimp always had was the partnership concept because their overview and their platform, the first page, I mean, it's all set up so that you could set up multi accounts. It's been like that forever.
Hmm.
So with other ESPs, when you begin to sell them to your clients, you end up with like 4 or 5 or 6 logins, and they don't set you up as a partner. But Mailchimp, the concept was from the beginning, oh, this is how you do it. You'll have one login,
Yeah.
and it's always been like that. I mean, the the concept itself was the partnership concept from the very beginning. And when I first worked with them, a number of people had recommended that I become, I think they call them certified partners at that point.
Probably so. Yeah. I don't remember the original name, but that's what it is now. Yeah.
Yeah, certified partner. And which essentially meant, you literally took a test and you passed and they gave you certificate.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I never followed through with that. But, as I said, I probably to this day have five. When I log into um, my account, I have at least five or six clients in there, past clients, current clients. They never take me off the account because if they need me, they're just like, can you help me just go in there and fix this, that, the
Yeah.
other thing? And, I find that to be, as I said, it's always been like that. I never had to log in to more than one account at a time. Um, the concept's always been, it's almost family. It's almost
Yeah.
family.
It really is. And there's so now the partner program is called MailChimp and Co., which is I'm sure since you've had the account a long time that don't know how long ago it started. I want to say it was 2, 3 years ago. But the partner community is a really close knit community. I would say there's a tons of partners out there. So I can't speak for all partners, but there is an incredible supportiveness that I feel as a partner. So that if I need help, a question that I'm trying to get solved or troubleshoot, there are a lot of partners that could help bounce ideas off of or come up with the latest um, technical hack that we need to figure this thing out. I mean, there's it's technology, and so there's always something to be figured out or worked around. And I really enjoy being part of MailChimp and Co. So there's still time for you, Joy, if you want to join.
I'm not sure if this was the case. Do they work on the weekends? Does chat work on the weekends? No, does chat work on the weekends? I think so.
Yeah,
Because I was
yeah.
surprised. I was working on a project and I was having a problem with the form. Okay, so the
Okay.
form worked, but the very end of the form, after they click submit, was erroring out.
Mm,
Okay? And so it really, was a very bad user experience. And even though I was able to get their email address, I was like, the last thing you want to do at the very end is to like, literally drop dead on them because it was just um, a bad experience. So I went on and I looked at chat and I was like, well, let's go for it. Let's see if they're awake. And sure enough, they were awake
yeah, yeah,
and they solved the problem. And I was
yeah. And probably,
for quite a long time. Um, not so long waiting as much as I thought it would be. But we went through a number of different things. It was a DNS issue,
okay, okay.
so it was technical. And they worked with me, and it was because the web, it was a GoDaddy website, and it was a little something was weird, and it was just something very simple. I can't remember what it was. And they fixed it and it's fixed and I was very happy. And I thought to myself, this is good. This is where it should be. Because if you can't phone someone, you don't need to phone someone to work through a
Yeah,
problem.
yeah.
If you can chat through it, I'm being an email person and in a digital world, chat is fine. Chat is
Oh
fine.
yeah, yeah. Especially if you can share screens, or they can send you a screenshot, or a video, where they can point, click here, and take this thing out. It's yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
So I'm
So
glad you had a good experience.
the user experience was very good. I was very happy. And for small businesses that use the constant contact, I always tell them you should check out Mailchimp. You know, it only
Look
makes
at you, Joy.
yeah. There you go.
An
Help
ambassador.
yourself.
You don't even know it. You need to come on over and join
Well,
the community.
the truth is, when Constant Contact bought Sharp Spring, I was, I thought more of them, and I'm just waiting for them to drop constant contact, but that's okay. They can't do that because then
Well,
they'll just be known as Sharp Spring, in which case that, that doesn't work. But
I will say at Pure FireFly, we help clients with whatever email service provider they use. So we are definitely very active in MailChimp and Co. We are MailChimp certified, but we are full service email marketing. So if a client comes to us and say, hey, we have Constant Contact or one of the many other competitors out there, we will help them. We do, as a number of services that translate to all email service providers.
right.
So we will help with campaign and strategy, and it really doesn't matter. Troubleshooting, automations. In that sense, it doesn't really matter which tool you're
It
using.
really doesn't. I mean, it's just, it's implementing it, obviously. And sometimes,
Yeah.
depending on the tool, um, you may have to paint yourself into a corner to implement something because it's not
Yeah.
natural to the platform,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
True.
So, but
True.
in some cases, and that's when you grow, and it happens a lot. You grow out of a platform. It's possible,
That's true. That is very true because every
you know.
platform has its own limitations,
Yes,
and you got to find the right one for you. And what was good for you 2 years ago may not be good
right,
today.
right.
So, yeah,
And
agreed.
if the plan is such where they begin to nickel and dime you, and a lot of them are doing that these days. They begin to nickel and dime you for whatever reason. It's clear that they're telling you that you're not their business partner. That's not their model. That's when they nickel and dime you, because it's they figure, let's see if we, it's built into the growth that if they get to this point and they outgrow the platform, let's nickel and dime them to death until they leave because they're not our client and we
Mhm.
don't have what they need anymore. It just, I don't like the concept of having to pay for sends, having to pay for clients. It's like,
Yeah.
come and go and stand still here. Like, make up your mind. Do me solid. In any case, in any case, let's not let's not go off on ESPs and how they charge. So, you had mentioned that when you were building the business, family was a priority. So in many cases, you found yourself, that work life balance. And
Yeah.
I think we all have that, but we all deal with it differently. And right now, I'm completely. When my husband passed, I was able to just throw myself into the business. It was actually
Mm.
therapy for me. So I
Yeah.
don't have a work life balance because work is my life. And that's not a sad case story. It really is a labor of love, and it's okay. But when
Yeah.
my husband was around, it wasn't okay because he was hungry and he wanted dinner. And he also wanted someone to talk with, God
Yeah.
forbid. And he didn't want to talk about email marketing. So,
Yeah.
so it's difficult. So, what types of things, what do you do? How do where do you draw the line? And, how do you have a process? Do you have a cutoff? Do you just say no at a certain point?
I do say no. I have gotten better at saying no to certain things. And that is just learned over time. I can't do everything. Um, there are certain things I just can't do. And I have clients, I have colleagues, I have friends that I just sometimes have to say no. And sometimes it's stuff I really want to do or a place I really want to be, but I know that if I do it, I won't have anything left. And this is a daily thing because you get all kinds of invitations and offers and opportunities, and each one has to kind of be evaluated as to how it fits in my life at that particular time. But yeah, I am by no means perfect at it. I every day I kind of reevaluate what I'm doing, how much time do I have to do the things that are really important to me, and that's being there for my family. So if it interferes, something comes up with a school meeting and it's on a Friday when I had a meeting, then I got to contact that person and say, hey, can we reschedule or can we push this back or can we make this earlier? If it's during an opportunity that's during a vacation time or a time when my kid has, they're in the playoffs, I gotta turn it down. Like this is my priority at this point in my life. And I really believe in sticking to commitments, kind of standing by my word and the quality of my work. But occasionally, not to, I don't sacrifice quality. Like my clients, one of the reasons I think we are successful is because they know that when we say we're going to do something, we're going to get it done. But if there's a meeting during the playoffs, oh, we got to reschedule. Like, yeah, that's
Really?
that's just that just has to happen. And fortunately, because we serve small businesses and nonprofits, almost 100% of the time, people are so understanding because they're going through it too. Like they have a small business family where there's 10 employees. Sometimes there's 3 employees. Um, or maybe it's 50, but they get the whole idea of balancing family and life, or work and life. And so they relate to it. And sometimes I think it helps us, uh, with our work relationship. I think that we are, as a small business, we are uniquely able to understand other small businesses because we're going the same thing. There's kind of this we're in it together sense. And our clients feel that and relate to that. And I think that makes our work relationship even
Mhm.
stronger. So for
It's
me, it's
human.
working right now. I mean, I
It
think,
makes it
like
human.
we said, you could, yeah, it's on a human level. It really is. I had a client just yesterday. We were talking and we were just wrapping up our call, talking about strategy for the summer. And he said, I just want you to know how much I really enjoy working with your team. And it was like that just made my whole day. And he wasn't talking about our competency. I mean, obviously we're competent and if we're not competent, they're not going to pay us. They're not going to hire us. But he was talking about how he felt working with us, that he felt we cared. Like he's like, you're responsive, you're so helpful, you're very you explain things very well, the team explained things very well. And that was like the best. I was like, you just made my whole day. That's our goal. And I think what makes us stand out from there's a ton of freelancers out there, a ton of agencies out there, but being able to relate to others on a human level, how we would want to be treated, right? I mean, because we work with a ton of vendors and all kinds of other partner agencies, and I think that comes across, and that's why I keep doing this.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
know, it's like the priority thing is it's not just in business, right? As you're growing up, and we're not necessarily taught this, and when our parents or when this is suggested, we tend to fluff it off. But all through life, you should have priorities. You should not be just having fun. And in
What do you
many
mean by that, Joy?
in many cases, as we're in high school, right? And I think, a lot of times people say, "What would you tell, your 18-year-old self if you could?" When I was in high school and I was um, growing up, it was about having a good time. I didn't want to be anywhere where I wasn't having a good time.
Hmm.
If I didn't like where I wasn't, bye, see ya,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Why are you hanging out with those people? Because they're funny, because they're this, because I liked being with them. But it's not just about liking where you're at, because if you were on the phone and having a conversation, it was a good conversation, and you had to be somewhere else. This is a priority. And if you had been teaching yourself, it's not just about where you want to be or where you like to be. Sometimes you have responsibilities, and those long-term responsibilities that may not be crystal clear in your mind, and of an 18-year-old, the 18-year-old should be thinking, I need to be able to judge whether or not the group of people I'm with are for me or just having a good time. Like, do
yeah,
they care, or are they going to drag me into the gutter?
yeah,
Because we're all having a good time. we're laughing. So what? The point is that we should all have priorities. And while, you're on the phone with your girlfriend, you're having a great conversation, you look at your watch and you're like, wow, I've got like 15 things to do. Do you still have the conversation with your girlfriend? Or do you say, I'm sorry, babe, I got to go. I got 15 things to do. And the point is, of course we would do that. But I'm saying in many cases, we don't do that. And we're not, we're not taught how to prioritize. To
I
some
think as I evolve, for me, the definition of good time is what changes. I mean, I have a good time being responsible. Like I have a good time being there for my friends and my family and my clients. Like that for me is the good time.
Mhm.
Now, it's not a good time when I feel like I'm just so overwhelmed and working so many hours and not being my best. And yeah, so that's not a good time for me. So I don't spend if I feel myself going there, then I gotta change. But for me, a good time is being my best self. And I know what it takes to get there. And that means sometimes I gotta work and sometimes it's gonna be long hours and sometimes it's gonna be hard and sometimes I'm gonna be frustrated. But even that, I'm growing and I always enjoy growing and learning. So
Mhm.
but that takes time, right? I mean, you don't know that at 18 necessarily.
No, you don't. That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's one of the things that I would have told my 18-year-old self is, you got
Yeah.
you, you need to slow down and just judge what's going on around you and which what's going to bring you to where you want to go. And the point is, an 18-year-old doesn't know where they want to go. And we're not talking where you want to go in 20 years. We're saying the 18-year-old needs to say, where do I want to be in 6 months? Needs to learn how to make that call in their head. And if they say in 6 months I want to be doing the same old, is that really, what I'm saying? In 6 months I want to be getting, I want to be doing better in social studies, or I want to be in college, or, I want a job, whatever it is. That's, that the concept of judging, fairly judging yourself without being overly critical. So judging
Yeah.
yourself,
And
learning,
that's tough.
that's stuff, learning to know what your skill set is. Now, again, something that they don't necessarily teach you. So you may say, I'm good at running. Okay, you're going to be a professional runner? I mean, really, what does that mean? Well, I'm good at running. That means I've got endurance. You think about what those things are. And okay, so I don't want to be a professional runner, but I am a good runner. I'm a track runner. So where can I take that? That's what I would tell the younger person, to take a look at what you've got, those natural talents, and begin to play with them. What do you really enjoy? And learn to build those talents, because all of those talents are going to be where you're going to be in 30 years. And you don't know that. All of
Yeah.
those transferable skills continue to blossom and grow. And suddenly, where it was this and then maybe this, suddenly they're all together, and that's who you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, when I was younger, I hated math, hated math. So the last thing I thought I would ever be doing was developing email marketing templates, which requires a lot of math.
A lot of analytical. Yeah. Problem solving. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
True.
the last thing I thought, the very last thing. And it wasn't until um, 2000 when I went back to school and I realized I'm going to have to take a math class. All right.
Hmm.
And I aced it. I aced it. I mean, not
Yeah.
only didn't I have any problems, but I found it to be so exciting that I did all my homework and more homework. And I was like, why didn't I like this? It was algebra,
Yeah.
not calculus. No, algebra. And now, if it was calculus, I probably would have stayed in programming. But algebra was good enough for HTML.
Mm-hmm.
Calculus is that next level, of programming.
Yeah.
where you think that way. You're just like you've got a million variables, and you're just like juggling variables.
Yeah.
I
I
thought,
loved calculus. I
yeah.
loved calculus.
So I that's when I realized, oh, you know what, HTML is perfect for me. And not only is it perfect, but it's all of my skills, because you've got to put the content in there. I love creating content, and I just email marketing was just the culmination of everything I was. Oddly, not I don't know if everybody is as lucky as I was to be able
Hmm.
to take everything that I learned and find the perfect career.
Yeah. I,
But
I agree. I
my
agree with
father
you.
used to tell me, um, if you find something that you love, it's not work. And I remember those words. I don't remember working on them, but now I remember them because I fell into it. I fell
Yeah.
into
Yeah. I totally agree. I think the email for me, because I do love solving problems and the analytical piece, the design piece. I, like you, I went back to school in early 2000s and I got a design degree and went to an art school. Never thought that I would be successful because I have an engineering background. Never thought art was even in my, I just didn't think it was possible because I'm so used to numbers and formulas. And I loved design once I, started to learn more about it. So email was like the perfect solution, perfect marriage between the math part and the design piece. And I still love it. That's what keeps me in the email game.
Yeah, it's very satisfying for me,
Yeah.
because it is everything. It is everything that I've done, and it pulls everything together. And it's always a challenge, even though it's the same thing over and over again. It's not. It's never the same thing over and over again.
Well, it's changed. Yeah, it's changing. I mean, there's always new technology. There's always new regulations.
There's always
GDPR
a new
wasn't
way
a
to do the
thing.
same thing, because
Yeah,
it's not exactly the same thing.
yeah. It's changing. That part is exciting too, because if it was exactly the same all the time, I would get bored. So,
Yeah. I every I recently acquired a new customer who's in a different ESP, and they were somewhat blindsided because they lost their marketing person who had set it up, and there was no SOP, so they really had no clue what was
hmm.
in the ESP. And to most people, going into an ESP is like chalk on a chalkboard. It's like I hate
Yeah.
that noise. I can't take it. Do I have to do this? And so, here I am thrown into an ESP trying to um, back engineer what was done and try to figure out why did they do it this way, and then say, should we leave it this way or should we change it? Like, even though it's all the same tools, the same problems, the same concept, it's something new. I have to solve, I have to use all the same skills in the same type of a job to solve a problem that I've never solved before.
Yeah, but that's the exciting part, right? I
And
mean,
that's,
once you get it, you're like, yes, I got it. I know now how to do this. I can do this for other clients. It's a win. It's definitely a win.
do you, do you have any favorite like processes or tools, like, aside from MailChimp, but something that, it's like a must in your day?
Um, Not really. I don't have any. I use Zapier quite a bit because it's
Solves a lot of problems.
relatively, yeah, it solves a lot of problems. I know that there are other tools like Zapier out there, but it's just, now that I know it, it's just easier to just go in and connect two things together. So that's probably my go-to the most. Um, Otherwise, I was telling a client, we learn something new every day. I mean, honestly, there's a new client with a new CRM that I've never heard of, or a new something that I've never heard of. And, we just have to figure it out. There's usually a pattern to these things. And because I have a technical background, it's challenging and also exciting, like we were just talking about, to learn something new and figure stuff out. So
That
I
is
don't really
something that's
have a,
exciting. That's something that's exciting about our business because there is always something that you've never used before. They'll
oh,
say,
yeah,
"Oh, do you know how to use X?" Like, "Oh, no, let's check it out." And we just
yeah,
want to check it out,
yeah. We just want to check it out. We want to learn it and conquer it.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's yeah, having been in an agency or many agencies. Joy, do you know how to use X? No, but I'll figure it out, right? And you do. You
yeah,
figure it out.
yeah,
You figure it out.
yeah.
and
That's
you
the fun
and you
part.
learn oh, this is a pretty cool tool. It will do this for this type of a client. It solves a problem, and you learn that
Yeah,
um and like the the old concept of Microsoft, where some people would do it this way and other people would do it that way. There's at least three ways to do the same thing, right? At least.
agreed.
It's
Yeah,
just it's just determining which is the one that does it the best, that takes the least amount of time, that is least expensive. All those things somewhere, within,
yeah. That's what every client wants.
right?
Get it
And
done the fastest on the smallest budget. Yeah, and don't break anything else.
don't
That's
break it,
pretty much it.
right? It's that, but the concept of, like, when Google Forms came out, I was like, oh, this is like too much. It's free. You're kidding me. Wow. That's like, you've got forms forever. Free
Yeah, for
forms
free.
forever.
Yeah,
Like, you
yeah,
got to be kidding me. So, I think the Google form is pretty much, too much for me, because a lot you'll say to a client, well, we could build a form in the ESP. We can host it on your website. Oh my God! Now they're like, oh, their eyes are rolling in their head. It's like, oh, that means I've got to get in touch with my WordPress person, and
yeah, yeah,
I'm like, all right, let's just do a Google form. You could do that.
yeah,
Yes. Just send me, your logo. We'll do that.
yeah,
And so the Google form is, I think, the concept of sliced bread for me. It's just like,
yeah.
yeah. And I've seen people do the strangest things. It's like, why don't you use a Google form? What's that? All right, let me help you. The other tool for me is the pen and paper.
Oh, yes, highly underrated, but I love it.
Post-it
My
note with
to
many lines.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I write stuff down all the time. It helps me retain, it helps me think through things. So yeah, I'm all about the pen and paper.
My handwriting is atrocious, but I write it down, and I spend 3 weeks trying to figure out what it is I wrote down. But I write it down. So, are you going to any shows? Where are you going, or what are you thinking about in the future?
Oh, so I don't have any technical shows that I'm going to. No, no email. I thought about this year doing a couple email conferences, and just not on the radar yet. But
Those
we still
priorities.
got half a year to go, so you never know. I did see MJ the musical recently. This is my third time seeing it, so I would highly encourage anybody. It's a great show. Um,
If you're
but
in
yeah,
New
I
York,
don't have
what do you
any.
have to see?
What did you say?
I said, if you're in New York, what do you have to see?
Yeah, you know what? This is the thing. I've always wanted to see Lion King, and I know it's been around forever, but I gotta see Lion King. I feel like this is the year that I might make that happen. That's next on my list. That probably will come before any email show. I will have to say. I think it'll be more fun, maybe. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, there's something, I just recently saw some cousins that I haven't seen in like 20 years. So
Mm.
she was telling me that I don't remember how long ago, and I think it's Raisin in the Sun, but I'm not sure. But she was telling me, she said, I remember going to see a play, and she said, everybody's on stage and everybody is everybody and blah blah blah. And she says, and then Denzel Washington walks on, and she said, I mean, like everyone was electrified. She says, you just don't know the presence of some talent until you see them, not in a movie or a TV show, but you see them. She said,
Yeah.
he carried the show, but it was something. She said, he may be an idiot in person. I had no idea. But on that stage, she said, it was incredible. And that's the thing that theater does that a lot of people
Yeah.
say is different.
It is very different. The energy is completely different. And I love music. So for me, musicals, there's nothing like going to see a good musical.
Mhm.
But I love theater in general. I mean, yeah, it's very different. And it's different than going to the movies. It's different than TV. It's just a unique, great experience.
Because they are
So
feeding
yeah.
off the audience.
Yeah,
They
totally.
are
But then
feeding off.
there's also it's live. So, if they miss a line, if they whatever, you're getting their authentic selves. It's not like cut and then let's do that again. Let's
Yeah, I
re,
know. I don't like the way
it's
I said that. Can we do that again?
yeah, no, it is what it is. And you feel that. It comes across and I love it. I love it.
I think I'm gonna connect that to going to some conferences. Now, I haven't been to conferences lately, but the first conference I ever went to was a Litmus conference, and it was many
Okay.
many years ago. I think 2014, many years ago, and it was a very electrifying for me because the first conference you go to, um, here I am in email marketing. I was working remote back in 2014. I felt a little siloed, and I wanted to go to Litmus because I was like, I can network with marketing people, but marketing people, I was finding marketing people were like, yeah, you're in email marketing. Okay. Like they didn't get what I was doing. Or they thought, oh, it was so simple. I could do it with my eyes closed, type of a thing. And,
Yeah.
or I do email marketing. I use constant contact. All right, great, fine. In any case, I went to the conference and I met other email marketers and I felt validated. I
Yeah.
felt I felt the community. I was
Hmm.
feeding off of the energy. It was very exciting. To this day, I'll tell anybody to go to a Litmus conference because unlike a lot of the other conferences that tend to be marketing or buying and selling
Hmm.
conferences, the Litmus conference is about email marketing people. I
Hmm.
mean, maybe Litmus is selling their services, okay, but it's really getting that community together. I guess it may be the same with a if it, I think email and acid also has conferences, so it may be that same thing. So I would tell anyone to go to either a Litmus conference or an email and acid conference because it's electrifying and it's validating, and you find people who really understand what you do. Because I can ask you how many people understand what you do, even your friends, even your family. Do they know what you do?
No, no. They don't. If you're not in this industry though, if you're or a small business owner who's very, got your finger on the pulse of email marketing, most people don't. And everybody gets email, right? I mean, we all get email, but understanding what it takes to make that email happen is uh just, it's not in the everyday life of most people.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
they don't. They don't see the whole picture, and they'll often underestimate the amount of work that goes into it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
because they
it's
they don't understand it. And it's not, it's not like you can get a degree in email marketing. And so a lot of even college students that I talk to are like, wow, there's a whole career in that. Because it's just not talked about, a lot. At least not yet. That's what I find. But I think that's changing. I think over time that's changing.
Yeah, I don't know how much of marketing would deal with email marketing, right? And
Yeah.
um, a friend of mine, and this was must have been like uh, right after 19 in 1990s, went back to school for marketing, which she never used, but I can guarantee you that that marketing had nothing to do with anything that is happening today,
Yeah.
because marketing has changed. I mean, when it went
Oh yeah.
digital, it just exploded.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was always there was always a part of marketing that was analytical, and to a greater extent, that's what all that marketing was. It was that analytical thing, right?
Yeah.
And so it was so. It was not glamorous. It was not fun. It was like, oh, who wants to do that? Marketing research. Ooh, it serves. It still does. It serves sales, but it's not just events. It's not just data. It's quite a lot. And with social and with email and with the digital platform and the ability to do videos and all of these things, it's just wild. It's just wild. And email marketing is all of those things.
Yeah.
Even though people will swear, oh, it's not social, that's separate. What they don't understand is, no, it's not separate. You're saying it's separate, but it's not separate. You can combine the two. They're kissing cousins. They are related, and they don't. It's an odd thing. To a great extent, it's still in the silo. That email marketing is still in the silo. How
Yeah.
many clients do you have that silo you? So when you say, well, what happened after the campaign? Oh, it was good. No, no. What happened?
Yeah.
How many phone calls? What happened? They're not willing to share that information.
I don't think we have any clients like that, honestly.
You.
I will say the larger the organization, it depends on the size of the organization. And, if they have a whole team, a marketing team, and I say, team might be more than one person, um, they're juggling so many tasks themselves. They surely want to know the performance of the email. They want to be involved in that, but some of them want to be more involved than others. I guess I'll say
Yeah.
that. Now, none of them will stop us from doing the analytics, giving a report, doing some analysis. But we do have some clients that are, very hands off and let us do the monitoring and the recommendations. And, they pretty much go with what we recommend. And then we have other clients that are very hands on and want to walk through all the details and see where we've improved and what areas we need to work on and what our suggestions are. And so it kind of varies, but I don't feel, and maybe just because of our demographic of small business owners, but
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone is pretty okay with us getting the information because they know we use that to do our jobs better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When I have the conversation, like, do you have Google Analytics? They're like, no. Do I need it? Well, well, after an email campaign, it would be nice to know to see the traffic. Well, what do you mean? Don't you get that, Ben? Don't you get those analytics? Like, not really. No, not really.
Yeah.
I mean, the ESPs are beginning to show traffic. So if you drop the JavaScript onto the page, it will begin to show you, like the Klaviyo's. They'll show you that people are browsing. So you
Hmm.
could do browse abandonment and things like that. Yes, But no, having the ability to at least have the conversation with the customer, with your client, after the campaign went out, what were sales like? What happened to customer service? Whatever, all the questions that need to be had. If you can have those conversations, what happened at social? Did anybody talk about it at social? I mean, all of these things connect. A lot of times it's too difficult. Unfortunately, it gets too difficult because marketing is not um, easy by any means.
Yeah.
That's essentially what I'm saying. People think,
Yeah.
oh, I can do this myself. Okay, I don't doubt in a small business that you could do it yourself, but you have to see that they're all connected and don't treat the channels like they're all separate entities because they're not. And when you begin to sew them together, you will be amazed at the results uh, you can actually orchestrate.
Yeah. 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 If there's a strategy for all of them to work together, which is what I tell a lot of my clients. But it's hard to get there if you're a small, one person show and you're trying to do everything. Even with an email marketing person, it can be a lot to pull it all together depending on how many things you're juggling. So, um, but yeah, I always encourage our clients as much as possible, as much as they can handle. If we can work with their social person, whoever is doing their social media, and actually put together a cohesive campaign where we're all
All the
talking about moving towards the same goal at the same time, yeah, you get way better results,
way better
much
results.
higher return on investment. Yeah.
And it's amazing how many people don't do that. They're
Yeah.
actually working on separate campaigns. And,
Yeah.
the website is not necessarily geared towards the email that's going out, and the social is talking about something else. And if there's current events that happen, email doesn't pick up on it because we've already got our editorial calendar, and no, we can't do that. I mean, there are a lot of things that can be done, pivot, that, yeah, it's difficult, but that's what I call collaboration and a good team. And that's the unique um, recipe for success, is that collaborative team, that
Hmm.
everybody has the ability to, and they work together, and nobody is um, leaning on anyone else necessarily. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how to do this, let them do it. Type of things like, I don't know how to do this, they do, so let's do this together, type of a thing. As opposed to, if I show them I don't know how they do it and that I don't know what they're doing, then they'll know I don't know. And no, don't do it that way. I know what I'm doing and I'm a specialist and you know what you're doing. And if we dance together, can you imagine what that would be?
Yeah.
It's like a
Yeah.
good marriage. It's like two people who are somewhat different together. A good marriage, you can't beat it. You can't beat it.
Yeah.
So, to wind it down, where can people find you on the internet? How, people find you, or if they want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for people to do that?
PureFireFly.com. I would start there. And I'm on LinkedIn. So you can search for me on LinkedIn. Um, we, I have a Twitter account. I will say I'm not necessarily the most active on Twitter. So yeah, LinkedIn is probably
The
the
best.
best
Is
one.
it? Is it?
And the website.
Does the website have a link to your link? Does the website have a link to your personal, or is there an easy way to find your LinkedIn account?
Kristy McCarley.
Ah,
It
there you
does
go.
not have, yeah, it does not have a link to my personal. Does not.
That's
But
okay.
you can reach me through the contact on Pure Firefly. Yeah.
So if I went to LinkedIn and I typed in Kristy McCarley, I'd find
Yes,
you.
you
Okay.
would find me there. Yeah,
Well,
I'm
I'll have
there.
all that stuff below. Um, so it was a pleasure, it was a pleasure talking with you, and learning about what you're doing. Is there anything you want to leave
Thank
folks
you.
with?
Um, no, just if you don't have any email marketing in your marketing plan, today's the day. It's never too late to get started.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, high return, probably the highest return on investment of all the marketing strategies. So small businesses, entrepreneurs, nonprofits, I say, if you're not doing it, start it.
Start it. That's
Yeah,
me too, because I'm not doing it, so I should start
you should start, Joy. Yeah,
it.
you should start.
And I have a list too. Bad choice. Well, thanks so much. And it's been great. I appreciate you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Always a pleasure.
All right, then. Take care and see y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.